What's up, everybody? Dkoldies back here again, and today I wanted to talk about why exactly Dkoldies is bad for the gaming community as a whole. I'm going to jump right into it, but first, like the video, subscribe. It helps the channel out. I appreciate it. And I'm sorry if we just rolled through rambly a little bit here and there, because I don't write scripts. I actually write down a couple bullet points and I run off the top of my head because I have a fairly good memory. So, with all that being said, we're going to jump into it. Also, the green screen looks weird on the reflection of these cartridges, so I'm not great at that stuff yet. I'm working on it. Hopefully we're seeing improvements. The video's looking a little better, the audio's better, so all around I'm working on it. Alright, so let's get into why it is exactly that Dkoldies is bad for the community. Now, number one, as a full disclosure, I do sell games. I have my own website where I sell consoles, I sell games, I sell accessories. Do I consider Dkoldies a competitor? No, absolutely not. Because we sell to different people. I'm a community seller. I am extremely active in the community, whereas Dkoldies does not exist in the community. And that's going to be my first point tonight. Why they're bad for the community. Because they don't give anything to the community. They only take from it. So, myself, I created a Facebook group with over 15,000 members dedicated to the Nintendo 64. It's an extremely active group, and I am extremely active in it. I have made hundreds and hundreds of friends. I talk to people every day. We make a joke amongst my friend group that, they would go crazy if they got the amount of messages that I get every day, because I get a minimum of 200 messages a day for over 3 years now. And at times it does get a little heavy, but in the end it's all worth it because I love gaming. And being a part of the community is extremely important to me. It's extremely important to all of my friends that we are all active. We run charities. We do all kinds of stuff. I don't just sell games. I live in that world. So when I say Dkoldies doesn't contribute anything to the community, they only take from it, well, they're not contributing a game to you because you bought one from them. They are exchanging goods for money at a higher rate than anyone else is going to charge you most of the time. So they're only taking money from the community. Do they get involved with community charities or anything like that? Like our group's big thing is Toys for Tots. Every single year, now throughout the year we do a number of charity events, but our big thing is right before Christmas, we kill the local Toys for Tots. We've done it several years in a row now. We're very proud of it. We love it. Thousands and thousands of dollars. We go out and I make videos every year of the group raises all this money. And I need to be clear about that. I don't raise the money. I organize everything. That's what I do. I also donate some money, but I'm not saying because, last year was a $5,000 deal that I donated $5,000. I didn't. I donated about 40 hours of my time and some cash. But the vast majority of that money comes from people in the gaming community. And then we go out and we go toy shopping and we buy tons and tons of toys. And then we go and overflow every Toys for Tots collection basket the day before they pick them all up in our area. So that's what we do. You don't see Dkoldies involving themselves in things like this. And I'm not trying to brag about this. Please don't misunderstand that. What I'm saying is there are a lot of people like us that are involved in the community that contribute to the community. A lot of regular gamers like you guys put up $20 at a time for stuff like the Toys for Tots and stuff like that. And it all adds up. And so you're giving back to your own community. You're contributing to your community. Dkoldies does not contribute to the community in any way. They only take money out of it. They have nothing positive for it. And I've always had like an issue with people that only take from the community and don't give to it. I get so much from the community. It's ridiculous. Both emotionally and financially, the community sustains me. I pay my bills by running my website. So I constantly need to feel as a human to give back to the community in any way I can. And so I do. I do as much as I can. Sometimes to my detriment. But, I'm not going to go too hard on the charity part of it because they are a corporation. And by definition, a corporation does not care about you. And when you say that they're a small business, like they do, they have made posts. You can look it up on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. Joey running his mouth saying, when you've grown from when you're a small family business like us, and you've grown from 20 employees to over 100. Okay, so you're no longer a small family business. You have over 100 employees. The company is in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. Now, if every single one of your employees only make minimum wage, and I mean every employee, and you have exactly 100, although you've said over 100, then your payroll is $1.5 million a year. That is not a small family company if you are paying out $1.5 million of payroll each year. So that brings me to my second point, which is they cause a loss of consumer trust. Because unlike the small family business lie, they lie constantly. They lie all the time. We refurbish our consoles. No, you don't. It's been proven that you don't. Numerous times, over and over and over again. So when people prove them wrong, what do? Do they accept responsibility? No. They lie about it. Number one is they've got an updated refurbishing process. Well, they didn't have one to begin with, but they can't say that because then they're liable to a class action lawsuit, because that class action lawsuit would be under fraud because they sold every single console for the last 15 years or so under the refurbished label. So they can't admit that they didn't refurbish or they have not refurbished until they got backlash. And on the subject of backlash and destroying consumer trust in the market, you can't accuse, and they have, this is again on video available on all their platforms, they have accused people, not even like myself. I'm a very small YouTuber. I only have a couple subscribers, under 500. You know, it is what it is. I enjoy doing this, so I do it. And I actually have one or two friends that like watching the videos, so I do a lot for those guys. And so when you... I really lost my train of thought, and I apologize. So when you post on your all your social media sites that people that criticize you are acting unethically, well, I have a problem with that because criticism in and of itself is not unethical. When you have people like Review Tech USA and Jacob R., who bought multiple consoles from you and took them apart, and for example, Review Tech even said like his Sega Genesis console was in pristine condition, but these were not. That is an honest review. That is not unethical. So trying to paint your critics as unethical for even criticizing you is a huge problem in and of itself. So these guys go out of their way to destroy trust in the market, because if you see a large company like Dkoldies is lying to you consistently about refurbishing, about how they have the lowest prices, because up until all the backlash started months ago, whether you Googled them or they were on YouTube or whatever, when they popped up, it said, we have the lowest prices guaranteed, and they were charging double what everyone else was. When you do all of these things, people lose trust in who they are buying from, whether they're buying for you or someone else. If they're saying Dkoldies, one of the largest, if not the largest online game retailer, is doing this to people, then everybody's doing it. Or maybe everybody's doing it. But you get what I'm saying. You lose trust in who you're buying from. Because if you see them doing it, you start suspecting other people are doing these things as well. And that's simply not the case. And I also don't like how they use circular logic to justify their high prices. And, oh boy, I went down a rabbit hole the other day on Reddit. And I actually found Joey's account on Reddit, which he quit using like a year ago because he got so much heat. Oh man, people gave him so much heat. But all of his statements were basically, in criticism to their prices, they were, well, we charge high prices so we don't sell out of an item and then we have to buy more of that item. So you're charging high prices so that you can keep the item and not sell it. It's a circular logic, and it doesn't work. And he didn't make this comment one time. Matter of fact, if you scroll through any old stuff where Dkoldies is responding, look a year ago or before that, and they 100%, that was their answer every time. We try not to run out of anything, so we charge way too much money for it. Basically, don't buy it, you know, unless you're really, really desperate for it because you can't find it anywhere else. So that's kind of what they do. And so I want to get into my final point of why Dkoldies is so bad for the gaming community. Everything else aside, let's look at this objectively. Now, recently they've lowered their prices a bit. And I understand that. They've had so much backlash, they've had absolutely no choice but to do so. Are they still charging crazy prices? Absolutely. NES action set that I sell, or you can get on eBay or Mercari, from any seller, just about, you're going to pay around $100. If you want 2 original controllers with that action set from Dkoldies, you're going to pay almost $300. That's insane. That's triple the going rate. So, that being said, how is this bad for the community? What if you don't shop on Dkoldies, so it doesn't affect you, correct? Well, that's incorrect. Because what happens is, people do buy this stuff from Dkoldies at these extremely high prices. Because they are always the first to pop up on a Google search for retro video games and all that. They must pay a fortune for Google bombs. So they do sell a lot. As a matter of fact, last year somebody went through and they had posted 2 orders a month apart, and by doing the dates and averaging it out to like $20 to $40 per order, they came up with $4.5 million a month. So again, Dkoldies is not a small family business. They are a corporate entity ran by a moron. Drew doesn't know what he's doing. He admitted to starting Dkoldies after a woman that he called stupid he met while he was doing real estate or selling cars or something, and a woman came in to buy a car, and she paid in cash, and he said, well, where did you get all this money? And she said, I sell pet supplies on the internet. And this was internet early days, and he said, if this moron can make money on the internet, so can I. I just have to find the right product. And he settled on video games. So he doesn't care about games. He's not a gamer. He just wants your money. So let me get back on track. I told you there would be a little bit of rambling. So how does other people buying stuff from Dkoldies at these extremely high prices affect you and I? Well, what ends up happening is we have what we consider to be fair market value for games. For example, Kirby's Dream Course, $30 game. Now, just for example, say Dkoldies is selling this game for $60. So what happens is there are groups of sellers who, to each his own, are going to base their prices. Well, if Dkoldies can get $60 for this, well, I'm going to sell mine for $45, which is $15 above the current going price. So people are going to buy those. And then the game gets harder to get. And then other people, you sell enough copies at $45, the standard price goes up. The fair market value price goes up to $45. If enough people buy at that price, based off of slightly lower than Dkoldies prices, well, then the fair market value of that item goes up because people are willing to spend that much more for it. So as a seller, I have to pay more to buy this game from people now. Whereas I used to be able to get it for 60% of value or 70% of value in large bundles. Well, now I have to sell it for more than that. And then that affects you guys. When the fair market value of games rise, it affects everyone. It affects me. I hate raising my prices, and sometimes I just take that hit. If it's a $5 increase on a $50 game, I'm not going to increase that $5. I don't think that's not something I want to do. I don't raise prices unless I have to. I have my Nintendo 64s and my black ones are the same price they were pre-pandemic. And speaking of the pandemic, if you remember pandemic pricing, games went crazy. At one time, Kirby's Dream Course was $60 during the pandemic because everybody was locked up at home. Everyone was trying to buy gaming. But the prices have come back down, and that's good for everyone. But companies like Dkoldies specifically are driving prices up for everyone. It's not good for me as a seller, and it's damn sure not good for you as a buyer or collector, because now you have to pay more for these games. I want to sell games as cheap as possible. I would rather make my money $10 at a time than $100 at a time, because I would rather see someone get 10 $10 games than one game for $100, because that just makes more sense to me, because I'm a gamer myself. So I play games every day. I have my controller right here, but it bothers me. It bothers me that Dkoldies is bad for the community in every single way. I messaged a number of my friends, and I asked them, I'm like, how many reasons can you give me that Dkoldies is not bad for the community? Now, I have some very level-headed friends who are very objective, and I did not get a single answer on how Dkoldies is positive for the gaming community. They are just someone that's taking from the gaming community and not giving anything back to it, much like GameStop. Except Dkoldies is worse because they're insidious. They've inserted themselves into the gaming community but won't participate in it. They only want your money. You don't have to buy from me. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I mean, if you do, great. I appreciate it. I appreciate all my customers. But you don't have to buy from me. You can buy from eBay with confidence. That's another thing, is they tell people not to buy from eBay because they're probably getting counterfeits. You can't trust eBay. They've said that on a recent video, as in a week ago. But they sell on eBay also. They want you to lose faith in everything but them, and they are not to be trusted. Everybody, thank you. Like and subscribe. If anybody actually made it to the end of this video, use the code Quest64 on my website. You get 10% off at checkout. I'm already low prices. If you made it to the end of the video, let me know. Throw a thumbs up in the comments. I appreciate you. Y'all have a great day.